welcome to the Rime Buddhist Center's Dharma Talk podcast, Achieving Peace Through Compassion. This podcast is a recording of the Dharma Talks given during our Sunday service.
I have a few thoughts that I want to share with you today. In the Tibetan tradition, there is this famous story, you're all familiar with it, I'm sure, of this 11th century yogi. And his name was Milarepa. And his teacher, famously, was Marpa, also known as Marpa the Translator. Now, before Marpa would grant Milarepa any teachings, he tested his devotion and he broke his stubbornness in a very unusual way. Marpa would send Milarepa out into the mountains to build a massive stone tower. We're not talking about little cairn that you see as you go on a Sangha hike. We're talking about like a massive stone tower. And he had to build this completely by hand out of heavy boulders. So Milarepa would go out and he would haul these rocks. He would stack them high until he finished building this tower. And what did Marpa do? He walked out, he took one look at it, and he said, nope, tear it down. Take every rock back to where you found it and build another one over there. And this time make it round, right over there. Of course, as you might expect, Milarepa was exhausted, but he obeyed. He followed that instruction. Again, he went, hauled the heavy rocks, built this round tower, and then what happened? Marpa made him tear that one down too. So this experience of laboring over a structure, maybe falling in love with a vision, and then having to watch it dismantle right in front of you. This might feel pretty familiar to us right about now. I mean, just look at where our Sangha has been over the past 30 years. Many of you remember our big home on Penway, just right off of I-35. That was the place where so many of us first learned to sit, where we made friendships and shared potlucks and had so many teachings. That big room that felt infused with years and years of quiet practice. And then when the pandemic hit, everything shifted. Just like it shifted for everyone in the world, it shifted for the Rime Center as well. We were displaced, navigating that global uncertainty across screens, kind of like we're doing today. But eventually we found our Sangha house. It was small, but it was cozy. We squeezed in, shoulder to shoulder, knees almost touching, and we built a warm, living refuge. But of course, as we grew and started spilling into the attic, we realized that we needed more room. So we dared to dream big. We decided, as we had always all along, to build onto this house into our adjacent lots, to have this beautiful, special meditation hall. And so we had architects. We drew up blueprint plans for a grand meditation hall, and imagine sitting in that expanded space. It was thrilling. It was exciting. And then reality set in. These prohibitive costs of construction, these strict building codes, and the zoning restrictions, all of those things that just almost overnight crushed those plans. It was kind of like Milarepa watching his tower come down. Pretty discouraging. For a while, it kind of felt, at least for me, like we might just have to make our little Sangha house work indefinitely. Milarepa didn't just build 2 towers. In fact, Marpa made him build 4. Round, triangular, square. He would have to go and haul those same heavy stones until his hands were sore, his back was bruised, and he was weeping in the dirt, lost in a state of exhaustion and uncertainty and displaced in a sort of painful in-betweenness. And right now, we find ourselves in our own kind of intermediate state. With the Sangha house on the market and our new place not quite ready until later next month, we're meeting online once again. I've mentioned, kind of jokingly, but not really, that in the Tibetan tradition, this is called a bardo, a threshold between where you are, or between where you were rather, and where you're going to be. So this in-between space where you were and where you're going to be. It can feel a little bit like floating unmoored. It's disorienting not to have a physical door to walk through on a Sunday morning or a Wednesday night. And of course, as Buddhists, even though we talk about impermanence all the time, and we do our best to cultivate this moment-to-moment awareness and non-grasping, there's always change, and change is still hard. Even good change. Even this kind of exciting change that we are living in right now that we've been waiting for. It's natural to feel a sense of grief for the cozy Sangha house that held our practice, our silence, our community. Many of you did not know another home for the Rime Center. That was the first place that you knew. It's natural to feel that grief for that space. And so acknowledging that difficulty doesn't mean that we aren't ready for the future. It just means that we genuinely loved the home we built together. And that is so fortunate. Now, as you already know, at the beginning of this summer, we decided to take a leap and look for a different property just to see if another path was viable. And now, only a couple months later, we are under contract on both the purchase of a new place and the sale of our Sangha house. Who could have imagined any of this at the beginning of the summer? I still sometimes can't believe it has all happened and it's coming together in just a couple of months. And in Milarepa's story, those towers, they did not rise or fall by magic. They were built stone by heavy stone, breath by breath, tear by tear. And our new reality didn't just happen by accident either. It is the direct result of the immense hard work, vision, and dedication of the people in this Rime community who have been hauling those stones behind the scenes. And I want to take a moment to specifically acknowledge and thank some of those people who have poured so much energy into carrying this work at the risk of leaving people out. I think it's worth mentioning. Lama Matt, whose leadership and dedication and clear vision for what this new Dharma center can be have guided us forward. I invite you to keep him in your practice and in your thoughts as he is in retreat this week. I also want to mention and thank Gabi, our executive director, who works tirelessly behind the scenes to keep the operations and the heart of our community moving smoothly. And Nicole, our board president, and Vicky, our treasurer, who have steered us through endless contracts and financial details and logistics with so much wisdom and really so much care. I want to thank Jean and Benaya and Andrea, who are also members of the board, who've given so much of their time and their expertise to evaluate options, to help make decisions that are difficult sometimes and confusing, and to keep the long-term health and longevity of our community at the center of everything. We have so many people to be grateful for in our community. And beyond our board leadership, I want to mention all of you Sangha members, who have already put in so much sweat and hard work over the last few weeks, packing up the Sangha house, taping boxes, loading moving containers, and all of you who have already signed up to paint, to help us move, to unload everything in the next few weeks. Every single act of service is a stone carried toward building our new home. Now, I do want to clear something up. Marpa is not the villain in this story, obviously. He wasn't just trying to make Milarepa's life miserable. On the contrary, Marpa was breaking Milarepa's attachment to brick, to mortar, to the outer forms. He was teaching him a plain, hard truth. Don't mistake the building for the refuge. I want to say that again. The truth that Milarepa was learning over this process of building and rebuilding, over all of this sweat and tears, was this: don't mistake the building for the refuge. The practice was never in the finished tower. The practice was in the hauling of the stones. What Milarepa finally realized at the end of all his building and tearing down was that the real refuge could never be built out of boulders or knocked down by a storm. The true refuge was what had been forged inside his own heart and inside his own mind through patience, devotion, and effort. So, the warmth of our Sangha house, our little Sangha house, didn't belong to its drywall or its floorboards or its little kitchen. It came from every breath taken on those cushions, from every moment shared, and every act of compassion. We aren't leaving our refuge behind in the Sangha house, nor are we waiting for it at the new property. We are the refuge. Our new place is going to be amazing. I am so excited. It's going to be spacious, beautiful. It's going to be all on one level. It's going to be accessible. But remember this: the refuge is within us. So as we sit in this online bardo for a little while longer, we carry that refuge within us. And when we open those new doors later next month, we will bring that warmth right through the threshold. This new home will give us the space that we need to live into our mission of achieving peace through compassion, a place to gather, to grow, to thrive, and to welcome whoever walks through the door next, searching for peace and loving kindness. So, thank you to everyone who has carried a stone to get us here, and thank you for sharing this practice with all of our Rime Sangha and with all of our Kansas City community. And may all beings benefit.
Thank you for listening to the Rime Buddhist Center's Dharma Talk podcast. Music was provided by Barefoot Bran Music. Please consider supporting the Rime Buddhist Center by making a donation at our website at www.rimecenter.org/donate.